Hi. Are you ready to learn 6th grade? I hope so. Okay. So recall yesterday's lesson. We were learning about the circumference of a circle, and you can find it with just diameter, or you can also find the formula with radius. So circumference of a circle is pi times c, or you can do it with just a radius. By putting in 2 times pi times r for the circumference of a circle. All right. And recall that the circumference of a semicircle is pi times r or pi times c over 2. And the circumference of a quadrant is pi times r over 2 or pi times c over 4. But for me, I haven't memorized the circumference of a semicircle or a quadrant because I know I can easily um, get to it with my knowledge of the definition of a semicircle is half a circle, and quadrant means 1/4 of a circle. Okay, so let's derive the formula for the area of a circle now. I thought this was really cool, and I hope you think so too. So let's look at this example. Now, let's say we have a circle and we're going to divide it into 2 semicircles, like so. And from the center to the edge here, that's the radius, okay? And from the center here to the edge there, that's the radius. All right, okay. Now, we know that the length of a semicircular arc is half of the circumference of a circle. And the formula for the circumference of a circle with r is 2 pi r. So half of 2 pi r is just pi r, right? Okay. So basically we're saying, okay, this semicircular arc is, the length of it is pi r. Okay, you're with me, right? Okay. Okay, so now let's say we have a circle and we're going to cut it into 16 equal pieces, okay, like this. All right, and so we have a center point here, and each side of these pieces, it represents r. Do you see that? Okay, and if you count it, there's 16 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so they're all equal pieces. Now, remember that half of um, a circle, the length, the circumference is pi r. Okay, and that accounts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Okay, including this green piece here. And there's a reason why one of these is green, and you'll see why. And so that means, oh, okay, the other half here, okay, the circumference is pi times r. Like the length of this altogether is pi times r. Okay, and so I just drew this stick line here to represent the diameter because I wanted you to clearly see that this is a semicircle and this here is a semicircle. Okay, you're with me, right? Okay, I hope so. All right, now we're going to cut one of the pieces into 2 equal parts. In fact, we're going to cut this green part into 2 equal parts, like so. So now that we did that, let's arrange all the pieces to form this figure below. It kind of looks like what polygon? It looks like a quadrilateral, and it almost looks like a rectangle, except that I see here, if I examine these pieces very closely, there's a slight curve here, right? And I have these 2 green pieces at the edge there, okay? And then I have the bigger yellow pieces, which are of equal size here. And there should be 15 of these yellow pieces, okay? And then, yeah, this represents pi r from here, and this side represents this pink pi r here. Okay, all right. But again, it's not perfectly straight yet. It's almost straight, but not perfectly straight, okay? And the area of then this circle would be the area of this figure, which almost right now looks like a rectangle. So I just move that on this side, okay? It's the same information here, okay? So let's do this. Let's cut the circle into as many equal pieces as possible. And if you do it, as your pieces, your equal pieces get smaller and smaller, you see that the edges out here straighten more. You see that? Okay. And then eventually it'll straighten a lot more like this, where it does look like what figure? It looks like a rectangle, right? Where the area of a rectangle is length times width, and length in this case here it's pi r, and then the width is r, and then the area of that rectangle is pi r squared, which means that the area of the circle is pi r squared. Isn't that cool? I love discovering this. It was really cool. It was in the book, and I just loved how they simply explained it. Yeah. All right, so now that we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared, let's do some examples. Let's look at this example. The radius of a circular disc is 7 inches. Find its area. Use 22/7 as an approximation for pi. All right, so okay, I know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, and then I use pi as 22/7, and then my r, my radius is 7, so I'm going to square that. But before I square it, I notice that 7 squared is the same thing as saying 7 times 7, right? And I like that because I have 22/7, so I can cross out one of these 7s. So now all I have is 22 times 7, and I did it over here, which is equal to 154. Okay, so the area of that circle is 154 square inches, because we're talking about area now. Okay, so don't forget to square the units, all right, for area. Okay, all right. Here's another example. So we are given the diameter, and we want to find the area of this circle. And we're going to use 3.14 as an approximation for pi. And notice again, with my previous example, that I didn't write an equal sign in my final answer. I wrote an approximation sign because we use an approximation for pi here. And that's what we're going to do here as well, because we're using 3.14 as an approximation for pi. Okay, so I know that my area of a circle is pi r squared, but I don't know the radius. So I did my radius in green in the corner, and I know my radius is half the diameter. So half of 24 is 12 centimeters. Now I'm ready to input in my values. So here I have 3.14 times 12 squared, and 12 squared, I memorized that square, which is 144. So now I did 3.14 times 144, and I did it right here in this black box. Okay, so feel free to pause the video to take a look at how I figured that out. Okay, and then that will approximately equal 452.16 square centimeters. Again, don't forget the square units because we're talking about area. All right, now it's your turn. Please pause the video and try these two on your own, okay? All right, and play it when you're ready to check your answers. See you soon. Hey, you're back already? Okay, let's check the answers. So we're using 3.14 as an approximation for pi. And for number 1, okay, I know that area of a circle is pi r squared. And then I'm going to input in my pi and my r, which is 3.14 times 18 squared. And 18 squared, I did it in that corner over here, right? I did it right here. Okay, so you can take a look to see how I figured that out. I didn't memorize that square. Did you? So it's 324. And then I noticed then it simplifies to 3.14 times 324. And then I did my work here in this black box. So you can pause the video to see how I did it. Yeah, so just pause it. And then that'll become approximately 1,017.36 square centimeters. Okay, all right. And then for number 3, so again, I know that the area of a circle is pi r squared, and they didn't give me radius, so I have to figure out radius on my own. Okay, so I know radius is half the diameter, so I did it in green in the corner, and so half of 26 is 13. Okay, so now I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to input in my values here, 3.14 times 13 squared. And I didn't memorize 13 squared, so I just did it on the side over there in brown. 13 times 13 is 169, okay? And now I have to do 3.14 times 169. And I did it here in this black box, so you can take a look to see how I did it. I did something wrong at first, so I had to fix it. I don't know if you've been making that mistake today yet or not, but I did. All right, and then that approximately turns out to be 530.66 square centimeters. All right. And I really like this guy and giving you this nod of approval. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to practice finding the area of a semicircle and quadrant. Okay. So let's look at this example. All right. So it gives us a semicircle with a diameter of 14 feet. So I know that the area of a semicircle is half the area of a regular circle. So half of pi r squared. And I have to figure out r. So r is half the diameter. So half of 14 is 7. And I did that in green in the corner. So now I'm ready to input in my values. Okay. And it says also to use 22/7 as an approximation for pi. Okay, so I have 1/2 times 22/7 times 7 squared. Now, before I actually square my 7, I notice I like it because I look at my approximation for pi is 22/7, right? And then I'm multiplying it by the square of 7, okay? And so I just wrote it out like this. 1/2 times 22/7 times 7 times 7, because I can easily see that the 7s can cross out here, like so. Okay, so then now it's 1/2 times 22 times 7. But hey, I know half of 22, right? What's half of 22? That's just 11, isn't it? Okay, 11. Okay, so now what I'm left with is just 11 times 7. Okay, and so 11 times 7 is 77 square feet for the area of the semicircle. Okay. All right. Okay, now it's your turn. Please try your best. I think you probably have more confidence than Steve Martin up there. Please do numbers 4 and 5 on your own and use 22 sevens as an approximation for pi. All right, see you soon. Okay, looks like you're ready. So let's attack number 4 together. Now it's a quadrant and you have to find the area of a quadrant. And so I know that a quadrant means 1/4 of something, okay, 1/4 of the circle. So 1/4 of the area of a circle is 1/4 times pi r squared. And they give us r and they give us an approximation for pi in the picture. So now I have 1/4 times 22 sevenths times 14 squared. But before I square 14, I'm going to see if I can simplify it a bit more so that I can work with easier numbers. I know that 14 squared means 14 times 14. Okay, and ooh, I like this because I see I can cross out the 7 here, and that'll become a 2. Okay, you see that? Okay, I cross out the 7, and that'll become a 2 because basically I did 14 divided by 7, which is 2. Okay, and now I have 1/4 times 22 times 2 times 14. Okay, but I like that because that'll eventually become 11 times 14. Why? Well, I see that this is, gosh, I hope I'm not erasing much. Okay? I see that this is 2, right? So now I'm doing 2 times 1/4, which is 2/4, right? So if I put that here, that'll be 2/4. And 2/4 simplifies to 1/2. And half of 22 is just 11, okay? So then this becomes, half of 22 is 11. So this becomes 11 times 14, okay? And I did it on the side over here in brown, and that's 154. And so my answer is 154 square feet. And let's look at number 5. Okay, so it says we want to find the area of a quadrant, so just one of the quadrants, and they give us the diameter. So that means we have to figure out the radius, and you know that the radius is half the diameter. So I did that in green in the corner, and so half of 42 is 21 inches. And I know my approximation for pi is 22/7, so I'm ready to input in the values in my formula. Okay, and so let's see. So I'm inputting in 1/4 times 22/7 times 21 squared. And before I do 21 squared, I want to make my life easier, and I want to try to work with simpler numbers than bigger numbers. And so I'm going to just do 21 squared as 21 times 21. Okay. And so when I do that, I see, hey, look, okay, over here, I can do 21 divided by 7 here, okay? And so that'll become just a 3, okay? Right? Okay, and then so now I have 1/4 times 22 times 3 times 21, and I know that 22 times 3 is 66, okay? So now I have 66 times 21 divided by 4, okay? So I did 66 times 21 here, and I got that, but then I have to divide it by 4. Okay, so I divided it by 4 over here. And I get a remainder 2, but I like that too because I know the exact answer, okay? Because I'm going to put my remainder over my divisor, and then so that's 2 fourths. So 346 and 2 fourths makes a half, which is 346.5 square inches. All right. Problem solved. Okay, well, that's all for today. Thank you for trying your best always, and I really miss seeing you in person, but I'll settle for our live class on Thursday. Okay, bye.